find her a little bit annoying. They don't just want her out of their business and out of their life. They hate her. Yeah, I'm talking about Ted Sarandos's wife, Nicole Avant, who I have said for some time cannot stand the way that Meghan has used the fact that they have this interracial marriage and that Meghan thinks that's a reason why she can continue to treat Netflix terribly. But it's not just the Sarandos family. It's the Kardashian family. It's the Bezos family as a result of Meghan's snobby treatment of Lauren Sanchez. What a mistake that was.
Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into the absolute chaos of the last 48 hours, make sure you are subscribed and have those notifications turned on. You do not want to miss the updates we have coming your way because the royal media landscape is shifting faster than anyone could have predicted. Today, we are looking into what can only be described as a spectacular failed attempt at a narrative hit job. Yes, Dan Wootton has been officially and quite publicly disproven, and the timing truly could not have been more embarrassing for those trying to push a specific agenda against the Duchess of Sussex. The narrative for months, if not years, has been that Meghan is an outcast in California. We have heard endless reports from various commentators claiming that the A-list in Hollywood is running for the hills, terrified of being associated with the Sussexes. Dan Wootton recently doubled down on this, spinning a tale that suggested Meghan was being actively despised by the gatekeepers of industry and culture, specifically mentioning powerhouses like Kris Jenner and the legendary Anna Wintour. The claim was that Meghan was being iced out of the inner circles of the elite, that she was persona non grata at the Met Gala, and that the Kardashian-Jenner matriarchy wanted nothing to do with her. It was a bold claim, presented with the usual air of certainty that we have come to expect from that particular corner of the media. They wanted us to believe that the Sussex brand was radioactive, and that even the most famous socialites in the world were keeping a calculated distance to protect their own reputations. But guess who showed up just hours after these claims were blasted across social media and digital tabloids? None other than the momager herself, Kris Jenner. In a move that completely dismantled the iced-out narrative in a single upload, Kris Jenner made a sweet, public post appreciating Meghan after receiving a personalized gift from the Duchess. This wasn't just a behind-the-scenes thank you. This was a public endorsement shared on one of the most watched Instagram accounts in the world. Meghan sent out a beautiful gift basket from her brand, American Riviera Orchard, as a Mother's Day gesture. And Kris didn't just accept it, she flaunted it. She posted it publicly on her Instagram stories, tagging the brand and essentially giving Meghan a massive, high-value seal of approval. The timing was nothing short of comedic. Just as the critics were finishing their scripts about how the Kardashians despise Meghan, Kris was busy taking photos of her jam and flowers to show the world. So the question we have to ask is, where's the hate then? If these celebrities supposedly despise her, why are they using their massive platforms to promote her new business ventures? If Anna Wintour and Kris Jenner are meant to be leading the charge in snubbing the Duchess, someone forgot to tell Kris Jenner. This attempt to paint Meghan as a lonely figure in Montecito has really backfired, and quite frankly, it's refreshing to see the reality clash so violently with the manufactured drama. It seems the Hollywood snub narrative is more of a wish than a fact. It's a classic case of the loudest voices in the room being the ones with the least amount of actual insight. The reality of the situation is that the bridge between Montecito and Calabasas seems stronger than ever. For a long time, there has been speculation about a potential partnership, or at least a mutual respect between Meghan and the Jenner-Kardashian clan. When you look at the business models, it makes sense. Kris Jenner is the architect of the modern influencer-celebrity hybrid, and Meghan is currently pivoting into the lifestyle and wellness space. Seeing Kris Jenner post those as-ever gifts isn't just about a jar of jam. It's about a public alignment of two of the most scrutinized and powerful women in the media. This wasn't an aggressive marketing campaign. It was a personal gesture sent to influential women who happen to be mothers. By acknowledging the gift publicly, Kris Jenner didn't just thank a friend. She signaled to the industry that Meghan is very much part of the in-crowd. The attempts to isolate her have failed because at the end of the day, Hollywood values brand power and resilience, two things Meghan has in spades. If the gatekeepers really hated her, we would see silence. Instead, we see engagement, we see public tagging, and we see the kind of organic promotion that money can't buy. It's also worth noting how this affects the credibility of those pushing the despised angle. When you tell your audience that a celebrity is hated and then that celebrity is publicly praised by the very people you cited as her enemies, your credibility takes a hit that is hard to recover from. This backfire is particularly delicious because it happened so quickly. There was no time for the news cycle to move on. The hate story and the love story collided in real time, and the love story, backed by actual photographic evidence from a primary source, won by a landslide. As we move forward, it's going to be interesting to see how the critics pivot. Will they claim Kris Jenner was forced to post? Will they suggest it was a mercy post? Knowing the way the tabloid machine works, they'll likely try to move the goalposts. But for anyone paying attention, the message is loud and clear. Meghan is doing just fine in her new home, and her circle is a lot wider and more supportive than the British tabloids would have you believe. The narrative of the struggling Duchess is a fiction that is becoming harder to maintain with every Instagram story that pops up. The support from Kris Jenner is particularly significant because of the sheer reach of the Kardashian empire. This isn't a small-time influencer. This is the woman who redefined what it means to be a public figure in the 21st century. Her endorsement carries weight in the business world, in the fashion world, and in the social hierarchy of Los Angeles. By showing Meghan's gift, she is effectively saying that Meghan's brand is safe and desirable. This is the exact opposite of what the critics have been shouting from the rooftops. We also have to look at the as-ever branding itself. It's personal, it's consistent, and it reflects a certain level of confidence. Meghan isn't hiding, she is building, and she is building with the support of some of the most powerful women in the world. The attempts to discredit her are starting to look desperate. Whether it's Dan Wootton or other royal experts who claim to have the inside track on her social life, they're being proven wrong by the very people they claim to speak for. It's a bad look for them, but a great look for anyone who values a bit of reality in their news consumption. I love it when a plan backfires so spectacularly. It serves as a reminder that we shouldn't take every inside source report at face value, especially when those reports are dripping with a clear bias. The reality is often much more boring for the tabloids, but much more positive for the people involved. Meghan is living her life, launching her business, and maintaining her friendships with people who actually matter in her new environment. If that makes the critics angry, it's probably because they realize they no longer have the power to control her story. The despised narrative was always a reach. To suggest that Meghan, a woman who has navigated the highest levels of global fame, would suddenly become a social pariah in the very state she built her initial career was a bit of a stretch. But the tabloids needed a story, and Everyone Hates Meghan sells more papers than Meghan has a successful social circle. However, as Kris Jenner just proved, you can only sell a lie for so long before the truth walks into the room and shuts it down. Let's take a moment to appreciate the irony. The very people who claim Meghan is obsessed with PR are the ones who just got outplayed by a simple, thoughtful gift and a single Instagram story. It wasn't a press release, it was a moment of genuine connection that spoke louder than any tabloid headline could. The hate is nowhere to be found, except perhaps in the offices of those who are currently trying to figure out how they got it so wrong. This isn't just a win for Meghan, it's a win for facts over fiction. It's a win for the idea that people's lives are more complex than the caricatures created by the media. Kris Jenner's sweet post was a small gesture, but its impact was massive. It effectively ended a weeks-long smear campaign in a matter of seconds. And as I said, I love it that way. It's about time the narrative caught up with the reality. Stay tuned as we keep following the story. There is no doubt that the other side will try to spin this, and I will be here to break down exactly why their next attempt will likely fail just as badly as this one. The Sussexes are moving into a new chapter, and it seems they have plenty of friends to help them write it. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed seeing the truth come out, and leave a comment below. Do you think the tabloids will ever stop trying to push the social pariah narrative, or is this just the beginning of a new wave of desperate reporting? The broader implication here is about the shift in power. For decades, the London-based Royal Press Corps held the keys to a royal's reputation. They could make or break a public figure with a few well-placed exclusives from anonymous palace aides. But Meghan and Harry are no longer playing that game. They are playing the Hollywood game, where the rules are different and the players, like Kris Jenner, don't answer to the editors of British tabloids. This post from Jenner is a signal that the British press's influence stops at the Atlantic. They can scream all they want about Meghan being despised, but if the actual people she lives with and works with are posting their love for her, the screaming just becomes background noise. It's also fascinating to see how the faceless nature of these social media endorsements works. It's quick, it's direct, and it bypasses the traditional media filters. When Kris Jenner posts a photo of a gift basket, she is communicating directly with her tens of millions of followers. There is no journalist to twist the words, no editor to add a snarky headline. It is what it is, and what it was a clear sign of friendship. The backfire for Dan Wootton isn't just that he was wrong, it's that he was proven wrong in a way that he cannot control or respond to effectively. How do you argue with a photo of a gift and a thank you from one of the world's most famous women? You can't. Furthermore, we should look at the specific mention of Anna Wintour. Wintour is the ultimate gatekeeper of the fashion world. By claiming Meghan is despised by her, critics are trying to say Meghan is out of fashion in every sense of the word. Yet Meghan's style continues to influence global trends, and her brand launches are met with massive anticipation. The disconnect between the expert opinion and the actual public interest is widening. If Wintour truly despised Meghan, we would see a total blackout of Meghan in the spheres Wintour controls. Instead, the conversation around Meghan's fashion and lifestyle choices remains at a fever pitch. The gift itself, the As Ever basket, is a clever piece of branding. It's a nod to Meghan's past and her future. It's elegant, it's personal, and it's clearly being well received by those who receive it. By sending these to figures like Kris Jenner, Meghan is building a network of high-profile ambassadors for her brand. And these aren't just business associates. These are women who understand the pressure of the spotlight. There is a natural kinship there that the British press seems to completely misunderstand. They see celebrity, but what's actually happening is a supportive network of powerful women looking out for one another. The attempt to paint Meghan as an outsider in California was always a strategic move to make her look like she made a mistake by leaving the royal family. If she's happy, supported, and thriving in the California sunshine, then the monarchy's rigid structure looks outdated and unnecessary for her. Kris Jenner's post was a small but significant piece of evidence that the latter is true. Meghan hasn't just survived her exit from the royal family. She has found a community that values her on her own terms. As we look at the fallout of this backfire, it's clear that the media's obsession with Meghan isn't going away, but their ability to influence the public's perception of her is definitely waning. People are becoming more media literate. They see a headline saying Meghan is hated, and then they see a post from Kris Jenner saying "Thank you, Meghan," and they realize the headline was a lie. This erosion of trust in traditional royal reporting is a direct result of these kinds of failed hit pieces. The sheer irony of the situation cannot be overstated. For weeks, the narrative was being built up like a house of cards. One claim after another was stacked on top of the last, all aimed at proving that Meghan Markle was a social leper in the hills of Montecito. They cited insider sources, they referenced industry snubs, and they painted a picture of a woman desperate for a seat at a table that was being pulled away from her. And then, with one click of a post button, Kris Jenner, the woman who practically owns the table, knocked the whole house of cards down. It wasn't just a rebuttal, it was a total invalidation of the premise that Meghan is unwanted. When you think about the power dynamic, it's even more telling. Kris Jenner doesn't do anything by accident. Every post, every tag, and every public mention is a calculated part of a larger brand strategy. By choosing to highlight Meghan's gift, Kris was making a statement. She was saying that Meghan is Kardashian-approved, which in the world of American celebrity culture is a significant shield. It tells other brands, other celebrities, and the public at large that Meghan is a friend, not a foe. This is the exact opposite of the despised narrative that Dan Wootton was trying to sell. It makes you wonder who these sources are that the tabloids keep quoting, because they clearly aren't in the same room as Kris Jenner. In the end, the truth has a funny way of coming out, often through the most unexpected channels. Who would have thought that a jar of jam and a Mother's Day gift would be the thing to dismantle a major tabloid narrative? But that's the world we live in now. A world where a single Instagram story can be more powerful than a front-page exclusive. Dan Wootton and the others might want to start checking their facts or at least their Instagram feeds before they launch their next attack. Because as we saw today, the hate they are trying to sell simply doesn't exist in the rooms where it actually matters. Thank you for staying with me through this deep dive into the latest royal media fail. It is so important to look past the headlines and see what is actually happening in the real world. The support for Meghan is there, it is visible, and it is coming from the highest levels of global influence. The attempts to suggest otherwise are not just wrong, they're becoming laughable. I'll be back soon with more updates on the Sussexes, the royals, and the media games being played behind the scenes. Remember to like, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.